Welcome to the Barstool College Football Show presented by Phillips Norelco. It is week 11. We're here at Barstool HQ in New York. Brandon, second week in a row, you look phenomenal.
Thank you.
I'm starting to get angry that everything clownish looks this good on you.
What are you saying?
That's a clownish shirt, and you look great in it.
So you're saying the goofier the outfit, the better I look because I'm goofy.
Yeah, I would say so, yes.
Yeah, that
it does
works.
make your eyes
The
pop,
wide
though.
shot. Go back to the wide
Yeah,
shot.
makes
It
your
actually
eyes
kind
pop.
of looks like it's real.
It does.
When you're sitting behind the desk, it looks like you're
You
actually
look
wearing.
like Don Cherry.
Yeah.
I don't hate it. I hate the fact that it's Ole Miss, but I don't think it looks
You're
too
the biggest
terrible.
Ole Miss fan I know.
That's a problem, isn't it?
And you just open yourself up for an edit.
I told you that.
No,
You
I didn't
told me-
open myself up for anything.
I don't hate it while wearing that. Like, yeah, you did.
Brandon, second week in a row, you look phenomenal.
I don't hate it.
You're the biggest Ole Miss fan I know.
Correct. I hate the Ole Miss logo. I
Right,
hate all of
but
that.
people can cut that. It's
They
it's
shouldn't.
talking,
that would be dishonest.
it's talking about wearing it, and then you're like, I gotta be honest, I don't hate it.
He also was saying that in the office, and I said he probably shouldn't say that out loud because then the punishment might end up being worse.
I just feel like the goofier it is, the more it looks like a joke, which helps me out.
So if you just had to wear like straight Ole Miss gear, you would have been okay.
How many wins does Ole Miss have this year?
3,
How many does Mississippi State?
4.
Oh, you're back. You're
Yeah.
back. That
Wait,
was
where-
actually a plant. We talked beforehand. We're like, hey, he's had a bad couple shows.
Right.
We're gonna set him up to win one.
No, I haven't had bad shows. I had bad aftermath
You
of
had a bad
shows.
week.
Right.
Well, you attack somebody, so you can't do that.
Fuck you! Well, fuck you too!
Exactly, but that was after the show. The show itself was
Yeah,
fine.
fair. Yep.
Yeah.
So you're doing all right today.
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right.
That's
so you're,
good.
you're calm today. We're good. We can move
I'm
forward.
very calm. I was calm last week. You know.
Till after when you attack somebody.
Correct. That was after the show. I'm not going to attack anybody on the show.
You guys already have a swipe up planned. That's
We do.
perfect.
We do. We've
Okay.
shaken hands many times in the
Oh,
aftermath.
you guys are like addicted to shaking hands now?
We're not addicted to it.
How
We've
many
simply-
times?
I'd say we've shaken hands 5 times.
Too many.
That's not too many times.
That
Is
actually
it forced? Is it
that's-
not like forced?
Well, that sounds like I would say 1 and 2 are normal. 3, 4, and 5. That's getting physical again.
He says 3
Like
times.
you guys are like,
Well, it's an overall friendship. Like,
Yeah.
you guys don't like each other. You're never gonna like each other. You're trying to force feed
We
that
don't
you like
dislike
each
each
other
other.
because well, yeah, you do. You don't attack somebody you
we
dislike.
don't dislike each other.
there's been a lot of, I would imagine, in private quarters. I don't hate Brandon Walker, but I don't hate Devlin, but, and then a big heavy but.
It's irrelevant for this conversation.
Okay.
It's irrelevant for the
Nailed
show.
it. Nailed it.
All right. Well, the college football playoff rankings came out, Brandon.
They did.
We were a little bit off on unnecessary roughness. Penn State getting that 4th spot. Clemson getting that 5th spot. What do you guys think about that?
I just can't get into. I could care less because all the teams are going to figure it out, so they really don't mean anything. It's something to talk about. Clearly, we're a talk show. You guys unnecessary roughness, so I get that you talk about it, but I just don't care. Like I didn't even watch. I found out later. Do not care. Didn't really surprise me, but I just don't care.
Yeah.
They don't mean anything.
I agree. It will work itself out. Ohio State plays Penn State. LSU plays Alabama. I'm not worried about it.
Yeah, it doesn't matter for this season because the top 4 will all play, but
I mean, it's going to obviously matter as the season progresses and one lost teams, 2 lost. But right now, it doesn't like, oh, Penn State's 4. That doesn't matter.
Well,
It doesn't
Clemson
matter at
fans
all.
think that it does, though.
But there is kind of a
Yeah.
precedent that they
I
went
think
with.
there's more pride.
There is a precedent that they went with Ohio State, who has the overwhelming eye test over everybody, as opposed to LSU, who has 3 top 10 wins. So it doesn't matter. 1 and 2 is irrelevant, but it's interesting that Ohio State is the number 1 team. You can say that, right?
I would guess the only thing that would
don't think it's
matter
interesting.
is if you're
I thought
Clemson,
we
you
had
probably
that.
have no chance of getting to 1 or 2, so you don't get to choose your uniforms.
Or the place where it's played.
I wouldn't even
You
thought
won't
about the
get to choose where
uniforms.
it's played.
Yeah, because there's 2
Right,
locations
right.
they get to. Where are the 2 locations?
Well, they could certainly get to 2.
yeah, their
Probably not.
schedule's
Penn
not
State.
Ohio State and Bama, or Ohio State and LSU, or
Right.
Penn State and
Yeah, maybe not. I mean, I'll see.
Yeah.
The winner of that game sells the SEC championship to deal
Yeah,
with.
unless one of them
an
loses to
undefeated
Georgia.
Ohio State, Bama, LSU, or Penn State will be
Mm-hmm.
ahead of them. So yeah, that's really what it was. It was just basically Clemson will not get to 2.
But to be honest, that was always going to be the case, probably.
yeah, I thought maybe
'Cause they
they
don't
would have
play
been
anybody.
4 or 3. I don't know.
But the only number that has never won is 1. One
Yeah,
has
true.
never won the championship. So being 4 is
Tough
not a
for
problem.
Ohio State.
Yeah, Big Ev, what do you think about that? Ohio State at number 1. That's never happened.
I mean, no,
National
it
championship.
feels good to be number 1, obviously, but like everyone said, if we don't win the rest of our games, it just doesn't matter.
Correct.
Like we
Yeah,
have
it doesn't.
we have 2 great teams ahead of us.
I mean, it could, but
Is
it's
that
like we
Orlando
don't know.
Pace?
Oh, yes, it is. You
That's
like
pretty
that?
sick.
Great
yeah.
picture, right?
Pancakes. That's a great
Beautiful.
picture.
Beautiful.
That is a great picture.
And before we get to the games, one more piece of news.
His head is shaped exactly like yours.
I love it.
Both
Put it up next to
huge
you.
heads, yeah.
They have the same
Like
haircut.
huge
Yeah.
yeah.
I just seen a bunch of flapjacks.
That guy was so happy right now
Yeah.
to have a
Yes.
picture next to
This
his
is,
face.
very
this is one of my
Huge
favorite
heads.
pictures ever.
Yeah.
What a great photo.
Do you pick those pictures?
This one I did. I specifically asked for this one.
Willie Taggart got fired at Florida State. Any guesses on who it's going to be next?
Mark Stoops, University of Kentucky. They're
Tony
gonna-
Elliott.
Norvell.
Who's Tony Elliott?
That's the offensive coordinator for Clemson. Am I not right? His name. What's his name? Is that his name?
I don't.
I'm not. Listen, college football is not my number one expertise. It's yours. So if I'm wrong, tell me.
So I
Someone
think,
look that up.
I think it's going to be Mark Stoops. I think they're going to swing for Bob Stoops. It's not going to happen, and they're going to settle for Mark Stoops, who's built Kentucky a little bit, and he was at Florida State before.
Okay.
It's a logical pick. I hope he doesn't leave Kentucky.
I just think at some point one of these Clemson guys is going to get taken.
Yeah.
But do you go to
have
Florida
happen.
State?
And you're in the conference, and you recruit the area. Like that seems like a natural. What's his name?
Jeff Scott, offensive coordinator.
Yeah. Who's Elliott for Clemson? I made that up then.
Do you leave Dabo to be Dabo's rival? Do you care?
If you want to be a head coach and make millions of dollars.
I don't think anybody cares about that really.
And then obviously PJ Fleck just signed the extension. I know his name was getting floated around, but then, and Big Ev, I know you have something on this, Lane Kiffin's name being thrown around as well.
I mean, I just think it's. I mean,
Mike
I would say
Kiffin
it's-
would be a match made in heaven there.
It'd be
Well, no,
amazing.
the thing is, it's not that it's being thrown around; it's that he expressed interest in the job.
I feel like that's a Lane Kiffin move.
Well, of
then he
course, I mean,
also-
obviously, like, yes, I would love to
Like
express
Trump gets
interest in
impeached,
a.
Lane Kiffin may be like, yo, I'm interested in that job. Like, for
mean,
real.
There were reports that he was interested, and then he also was going on Twitter telling recruits that he was going to stay and that he did not want to leave FAU. Which is also
Yeah,
really
but that's just damage control.
Well,
Lane Kiffin,
right, but
I
I
mean,
mean-
he's dealing from the bottom of the deck at all times.
I'm sticking with my pick, and I was right. Tony Elliott, co-offensive coordinator for Clemson.
All right.
So there
Tony
it is.
Elliott.
That's my pick.
Do you
That is
go
my
from
pick.
Okay.
co-offensive coordinator to head coach at Florida
Yes,
State?
because
Yeah.
one of these Clemson guys, like Clemson just keeps their coordinators forever, so why wouldn't, like one of them's going to get a job eventually, and I think if Florida State was smart, like look at who has gotten hired. Look at all around college football, right?
Mm-hmm.
The guys that have been are successful right now, they came not as guys who were established, they came as guys who were coordinators beforehand.
Blake and Riley,
Lincoln Riley's a good point.
Ryan Day.
Ryan Day's a great point.
Speaking of him, has Herm been thrown in the mix yet there?
Where?
FSU?
I think he's got it going great at Arizona State. Why would he?
No,
I think
Herm,
he-
excuse me,
Oh,
Urban.
Oh,
Urban.
Urban's name
Oh.
is going. They're going to
No,
call
he
him,
would
but he's
never.
not going to go.
think Urban's
He'd be a
almost
perfect fit there.
penciled into USC at this point, right?
I don't know. Back and forth, he'd be perfect at FSU. No rules, cheat, crime.
No, I think you're right. What about Joe Brady? Joe Brady is the guy that's at LSU that has
passing
transformed
game
Joe
player.
Burrow
Yeah.
and
He's with
transformed
the
that
Saints
offense.
forever.
That's not a bad idea too.
Just throwing
I just
ideas
think
out
that
there.
going
By the way, I
down
didn't
the
mean to say
Stoops
Herm, but
thing.
he fits there too to me.
He's like best friends with the AD at Arizona
Is he?
State.
Is he really?
Yeah. That's why he went to Arizona State.
He's doing a good job.
Yeah, he is.
And nobody
Leave it on
thought
the
he
grass.
would. Yeah, leave it on the grass.
You know who else would be good was the Wazoo guy.
Mike Leach.
He'd be very good at Florida State.
He gets mentioned everywhere. I think Florida State and
They'd score a
Tallahassee.
bazillion points there. He'd have like all these fucking lightning fast guys.
Yeah. Yeah. Tallahassee's probably a little too like on the map for Mike Leach.
Yeah.
He likes to be off
Yeah.
the
Think
map.
about all the weird shit he'd be able to talk about in Tallahassee.
But in like Lubbock and then what the fuck is it called?
Pullman.
Pullman. I mean, those are like he needs to find the city that is off the map in the conference.
Starkville.
Starkville
You
would be
want Mike
good.
Leach in Starkville?
It'd be cool.
He would kill for Mike
It'd
But I
Leach.
thought
be
you hated
notable.
him.
Huh?
I thought you hated him.
I don't
That
like what he's become.
Tune would change quick.
I like
Yeah,
him as
that
a
tune
Which
would
football
change.
I'm
player.
actually, I'll have
That's
your back,
funny. You talk
Brandon.
about how sick of him you are, but
To win, it doesn't matter.
Agreed.
Dave would take Urban Meyer if he
No,
meant
I
he won a
wouldn't.
fucking big
He
game for
absolutely,
once.
he's the one person.
Yeah.
There are
He
certain
would
people
take
that draw the
Urban Meyer.
line.
You wouldn't
I-
take Urban Meyer?
Yeah,
No, I
he
would
would take
not.
Urban
He
Meyer.
won a
he
national
would.
championship.
He would take Urban Meyer. You would be
He
going
did?
crazy.
He
Thanks.
would.
Yeah.
He would.
Not with me, he won it.
Yeah, he would.
I'd be,
He would
I'd
absolutely
become
be
an
an
Ohio
Urban Meyer
State
fan.
fan.
you would
For
absolutely
real.
be okay.
I'd be
with that.
Ohio State for life.
Let's go.
Not true.
Yeah, it is.
But we'll move on. It's time for the Bud Light
Welcome
Weekend
aboard.
Preview. The best way to enjoy college football game days are with a refreshing, crisp Bud Light. The first game we're going to talk about is Iowa State at number 9, Oklahoma. Oklahoma favored by 14, the total set at 68. Both of these teams coming off a bye. Obviously, Oklahoma losing to Kansas State a few weeks ago, but still in the mix in the college football playoff. Dave, I know you're not a big Oklahoma guy, so what do you think's going to happen?
Not a huge Oklahoma fan. It's a dangerous spot if you're Iowa State, I'd say, coming off that loss, off a bye at night in Norman. I just don't think they're very good. From a betting perspective, I hate the game. I would take Iowa State, but Nothing would surprise me this game. Iowa State pulling a huge upset wouldn't surprise me. Oklahoma winning by 100 wouldn't surprise me.
And Iowa State's lost 3 games, but they've all been less than a touchdown every time. So it's not like they've been getting blown out by these teams.
And Iowa State beat Oklahoma, if my memory serves me correct, sometime within the last 2
years
2 years ago in
Baker.
Auburn, yeah.
Yeah, so there you go.
This game is on. This is the night game. This is like the big night game, so you have to bet it, and I'll just take the over. I don't really care about this game. I don't see a side that I love. So, but you can't have the 8 o'clock night game on a Saturday night and not have action on it. So I'll take the over.
So everything Dave said about this being a bad spot for Iowa State is correct. Oklahoma's coming off the loss. It's at Oklahoma. I'll add one more. They're behind Utah and Oregon in the college football playoff rankings. They're going to be pissed off. They're going to be disrespected. I think they're going to cover the number against Iowa State.
And Jalen Hurts all week has been doing his weird stuff with the media.
I don't care
and
about
saying,
Jalen
No, I know,
Hurts.
but they're all saying that he's rallying around them. And what?
Who they get disrespected by?
Oklahoma
Feels
feels
like they've been
disrespected by the
disrespected.
committee being behind Utah and Oregon. I'm not saying I believe one way or the other. I think Oklahoma feels disrespected.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, don't lose to like Kansas State at home.
I'm just telling you their
I'm not
mindset.
saying
they're
it
all,
to
they're
you.
all like
Yeah.
coming out of the locker room saying that like Jalen
Yeah.
doing this whole being 1-0 and how
Which
he's
makes
their
sense,
leader
yeah.
and the whole thing. I
Anything
mean,
to
they're playing with
motivate.
their
Yeah.
backs against the wall. I think this is a lot of points, but I also think Oklahoma's going to come out with a vengeance. They want to still be in the playoff mix, so I'm going to take Oklahoma. The next game we're going to talk about, Missouri at number 6, Georgia. Georgia is minus 17. The total is set at 47. Missouri obviously stinks. And right now, we're sitting here recording on a Wednesday. Kelly Bryant is questionable. He might not be playing. So that obviously is going to be a big thing for Missouri, even if it was going to be close in the first place.
Georgia makes no sense. Georgia will turn it on when they have to turn it on. They beat Florida this weekend,
But then, I mean, that was a close game.
they won it by 7. I don't know that Georgia can blow out anybody.
And
but
they
at the
also
same-
have Auburn next week, too. So
At
it's a
the
weird
same
week for them.
time, Georgia's talent should blow Missouri's talent out of the water. Missouri lost to Vanderbilt on the road. Missouri's lost to Kentucky on the road 29-7. So I have to bet Georgia here. If they lost by 22 at Kentucky, I have to bet Georgia, but I don't really trust them.
But the quarterbacks didn't play last week, correct?
Kelly Bryant?
Yeah.
Kelly Bryant played against Vanderbilt.
That's the game that we should have. Kelly
No, right,
Bryant.
he got-
he got hurt when we had the over.
Yeah, Kelly
it was,
Bryant.
it was flying.
He got
over.
hurt in like the third quarter,
Right, but
I
he
believe.
didn't play versus Kentucky, correct?
I thought he did play, but he didn't play very effectively.
Taylor Powell, I think, played most of that game.
Okay.
That's
So,
a
I
good
mean, the
game.
quarterback's obviously a big question here. It is a huge number. Georgia, we're saying, I agree with you, that they can turn on the gas. They haven't yet, so I don't know if they can. 7 p.m. though.
I think they do. I think this is the week
7
that Georgia
p.m.
turns it
Georgia
on.
night game.
Yep.
I don't like this game either, but you can't bet Missouri because it's a night game between the hedges. So I'll take Georgia. I like that over at 47 though.
Georgia's defense is also one of the best in the country.
I
Nobody's
think they're
talking
the
about
best
it
in
as
the
much.
SEC. The weird thing about the Georgia game against Florida is I thought during the game they were flipping the switch. I thought they were about to take off at any point, and they just let Florida hang around. And ultimately, it was a close game.
Yeah. I'm going to take Georgia here. I think they're going to turn this corner soon, especially at home, at night, defense. How many points is Missouri going to score? Brent?
Depends if the quarterback plays.
6.
I don't even. I mean,
6?
even
And
if
you
Kelly
have to take
Bryant's playing,
Georgia.
I don't feel like they're going to score that many points. They're just
You
not
have
good.
to take
And
Georgia.
they scored 7 on the road at Kentucky.
They lost to Vanderbilt, lost to Wyoming.
She's saying though the quarterback didn't play.
Yeah, I mean, Barry Odom said that if the game was played today, he would not be playing. Now, obviously, we
But
have
you
a few
can't
days
confidently
until.
bet that.
Oh no, I agree. Missouri's a different team with a healthy quarterback.
So you guys are all going to take Georgia.
I'm taking
Yeah.
Georgia.
Taking Georgia,
I
too.
think Georgia's
Georgia's
going to
gonna-
start turning a corner here. I
This
think
almost
they're
seems
gonna,
too easy though. There's like bells and whistles going off in my head right
Yeah.
now.
Well,
little
Barry
bit.
Odom has not lost a game in November since 2016. That's a stat that they're throwing around.
Good, I
Oh,
like that stat.
Okay.
It's a weird stat.
Good stat.
Kelly Bryant did play against
Yeah,
Kentucky.
he did.
Okay.
Yeah. He sucked.
I mean, I like
Just like
that
they said.
Kentucky team.
Yeah, yeah.
I like the 85 Bears.
Are you ever going to stop liking Kentucky?
He can't quit him. No,
No, I know. I
he
mean, I
can't
don't want
quit
you
him.
to. I like
He
Kentucky too,
cannot
but-
quit him.
Kentucky blue.
He cannot quit him.
I like Kentucky.
All right, let's.
Is that Kentucky blue?
Yeah.
It's close.
What's not Kentucky blue about that?
Yeah, I feel
There
like-
is different Pantones. Like, you don't want to get in a Pantone fight.
I feel
This
like,
is
It's a
Kentucky
bad place to be.
blue.
I
What?
feel like Kentucky blue's a little sharper than that.
He's
Darker, you mean?
No,
Like
sharper.
shiny. I think it might be shinier, but that's definitely the same color.
I don't think that's Kentucky blue.
I
think it's
actually am
Carolina
gonna
blue?
have to. No, it's
Actually,
not
no,
Carolina.
it might
blue.
be in the middle of
between
Carolina
those.
and Kentucky.
Look, you don't want to get into
You
Kentucky
think-
blue
okay,
might be a
maybe
little bit
Pantone.
like a
Darker?
mix between this and that.
Yeah.
pulling it up.
Okay.
Kentucky blue.
Well,
I
I
don't.
mean,
Yeah,
we have to
I
wait for
kind
the
of-
verdict. What do you
You
think?
think
Dan?
this is Kentucky
No,
blue?
I think it's a mix between those
No.
two.
I think it's
Yes,
pretty
it's
close
just
to
a.
this.
It's just a.
It's a yeah.
It's pretty
close.
close.
Oh, that's
It's
more.
pretty close.
I mean, that's closer to Duke blue.
No, that's Kentucky. Let me put it this way.
It's
It
pretty close.
definitely
It
looks
wasn't
Kentucky
enough for
really
you to
close.
call it out and say it wasn't.
He's looking. Brandon's
Stop
looking
picking
for
fights,
anything.
bully.
I'm not
He's
looking
looking
for
for
fights.
anything.
Don't fucking push
He wants
me. I'll
one
fire your
easy
ass.
win.
Not
He's
pushing
lashing
anybody
out.
You
today.
push Devlin, not
Please
me.
don't push.
I'm very confident. I'm very calm and collected.
Please don't push. All
Try
right.
that shit with me.
Please don't push. It's
Would
a
you
real
push him
thing
back?
we have to say.
No,
to
I'd be like, you're out.
What if he pushed Dan?
Psycho
What would
league
happen?
bullshit.
Real thing we have to say to a grown
Dan,
man.
I'd
Please
ask
don't
Dan.
push.
No,
I wouldn't have him fired
No,
for pushing me.
If you push me, you're gone.
Okay, I'm not going to push you. I've done my one push. It's
And
over.
that's what I'm doing. I'm not even just going to be like,
Yeah.
see it.
Out.
You're
Throw me out like an umpire.
Yep.
All right, let's talk about number 18, Iowa, at number 13, Wisconsin. This is the Heartland Trophy game. Dan, we'll start with you. Are you feeling nervous about this one? It is in Madison.
No,
It's
there's no nerves left in
middle of the day.
Wisconsin's season. Yeah,
Correct,
there's
yes.
no nerves left. There's no nerves left, especially because LSU and Alabama's played at the same time. So even if Wisconsin and Iowa play the worst game of football ever, no one's gonna fucking care. So I think Wisconsin is going to roll in this game.
They are favored by 9.5 right now.
There's no nerves. Win, lose, draw. Who cares? The season is, it's try to get to Indy and then lose to Ohio State by 1,000,000 again. I don't really know. So I want to win the game. I want to win every game, but there's no nerves, and I think Wisconsin rolls.
Yeah, so I think it's just one of those games where you don't even look at the number, you just bet the under. Because I don't think Iowa can score
Correct.
a point on Wisconsin.
Correct.
Iowa can't score touchdowns anyway, and I don't think they score a touchdown on this Wisconsin defense. And I don't think Wisconsin scores all that much against Iowa's defense. So I got under 38 without even thinking very hard
So you're
about
not
it.
a Nate Stanley guy. He's
Not even a- they can't score
I know,
touchdowns.
No, they cannot.
but he's leading the Big Ten in passing, which is bizarre.
Is
That
he
is
really?
a
Yes.
strange stat.
That's
It is.
kind of
That's,
sad.
very
I'd have to
bizarre.
look into that because that's probably the first 3 weeks of the season.
Is that like an
No.
efficiency stat or something, or are you just talking about
What were
yards?
his-
No, when you look it up
What
right
were
now,
his
he is leading
stats?
the Big Ten in passing.
What's he got, like 4 touchdown
Actually,
passes?
I wish I had a computer
Passing
in front
yards?
of me.
Just look it up.
I wish I had a computer in front of
Unless
me.
He's
I-
got more passing yards than Justin Fields. I don't think that's true.
No, that
see,
can't
the
be
thing
true.
The thing with Fields is he's just been taken out so many times, and just the amount he runs, he has these like 200-yard passing games, 100-yard rushing. So I could see. I think he only has like 1,700 passing yards in the season.
Nate Stanley has been throwing for a lot of yards. I mean, Michigan 260, Penn State 286.
Number 1, Stanley. 2, Sean Clifford. 3, Shea Magic.
That's
I mean, I
crazy.
just didn't make it up.
That's a good
No,
stat.
I know. I
I
mean,
think
it's
it's
a
a great
crazy
stat.
stat.
But they don't score points. That's
That's
weird.
why I was
right.
bringing it to the table. I was
Right.
letting everybody hear my fun fact of the day.
He's put up big yards against every single team. They just don't score.
like Justin Fields is 6.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
It's a weird stat. That's
It
why
is
I'm
a
like,
weird
it's,
stat.
they're not scoring
It is.
touchdowns, but
It is
he's
frustrating.
leading the Big Ten in
Because,
passing.
for instance, against Michigan, he had 260 yards. He also threw 0 touchdowns and 3 interceptions.
Yeah.
So they're still not going to score points.
I don't think so.
Yeah,
They've
I don't think
proven
so.
they
I
can't
don't think,
really
I don't
score.
think so either. That's why it's weird. I'm going to take Wisconsin as well. I mean, at this point, 9.5. I think they cover that easily.
It's a good simple people game. Iowa people, Wisconsin people, just like Midwest values, all that good stuff.
I've been to this. I was telling this before in the Pick'em podcast. I went to this game in 2015. It was 10-6. It was the
Yeah,
worst
right.
game
And
of
that's what it
football
should
I've
be. I
ever
feel
seen.
like it's one
Yeah.
of those things. Everyone tailgate, you offer each other some, meat, ribs, whatever the case may be, cheese. Iowa doesn't get blown out. Their offense is horrific. I'll take the points. It wouldn't surprise me if Wisconsin because Iowa's offense stinks. But Iowa, I just don't ever remember Iowa getting their doors blown off. So I'll take the points. Nobody's going to be watching this game anyways.
I agree.
And
Well, people have 3 TVs in their living room.
Yeah. Even then, you may
Congratulations.
want 3
Thank you.
TVs on the one game.
Money bags.
You would do 3 TVs on LSU
Just out
Bama?
of principle, yeah.
Dan, would you say Madison is a tricky or tough place to play?
Tough.
Tough place to play?
Tough place to play.
Brandon?
Tough place to play.
I think they mean the same thing, Kayce.
Well, too bad for you because we have a new segment that's coming in right now. It's called Tricky or Tough after last week, the semantics battle between the two of you. So we have 3 games. All of these ranked teams are going on the road versus non-ranked teams. You guys all have to decide if it is tricky or tough. Because
Or
Brandon-
neither, right?
Or neither.
Or neither.
But like I said, it is ranked teams going on the road against not ranked teams. So we're
I
gonna
definitely appreciate all of you guys bringing back stuff from last week and
Well, you
I
wait
mean,
till you
Brandon-
flip the
entire-
page and we have the push of the week.
do an entire.
Which game do you think was right on the line?
Is that right?
Yeah, no.
That would be a good Brandon Walker.
That would.
I
Put
mean-
that in for next week. Which game is so close to the line you don't want to bet it? The push of the week.
Brandon Walker.
This may be
pursuing?
personal, but did your wife say anything? Was she disappointed in you as a person? Like,
No,
Brandon, why
see, that's more of
they
a.
like that?
No,
No, I think that might be
that's
like a
more of
sexy
Oh,
thing.
you again. You're a pusher.
Oh. What did she say?
No comment.
Because I get how she could think it's like, oh, my big Brad Brandon, like that's sexy, my big tough guy.
Protecting the family.
Right, but I
The
can
Walker
also
name.
think like we relocate the whole family, we're gonna have to pack back up in our Hyundai and head back to Mississippi.
She was ready to come up here and find whoever it was I pushed and fuck them up.
Oh! So it's a Walker. Yeah.
rides
This is
die.
Walker.
She was happy you were standing up for
she's
the Walker
she's
clan.
Team Brandon Walker. She
I
says,
respect that.
She said, "Don't let people disrespect you."
Yeah.
There you
so
go.
she wants you to push more.
So how do you break? Was like they asked me to do a swipe up, and it's like it
No,
just didn't work.
I said when I walked in, I was like, "Sit down." She said, "What's up?" And I said, "All right, so I kind of embarrassed us today." And she said, "What'd you do?" Thinking I don't know.
She said, whoa,
And, I said,
whoa.
I said, I got into an argument with the guy and I pushed him and she said, "Did he deserve it?" And I said, "Well, kinda." But I was an asshole too. I said, "Bitch," and she knows me and she was like, "Well, you gotta do what you gotta do."
You gotta
Yeah.
protect Mississippi.
She's
Yeah.
ready.
It's
To,
I like that.
She's ready to forfeit it all.
That's a
Right.
Well, I mean,
or
Stand by her
we were
man.
comfortable in Mississippi. We could be comfortable again. So
It didn't look that comfortable in your basement when you were doing that.
that wasn't my
booking.
basement. That was my studio downtown Tupelo, Mississippi.
Tough. We're going to start with
Sound like another threat to Devlin too.
It was not a threat to Devlin. I was just telling you what happened in my house that night.
You answered it honestly. Number 12, Baylor. It's one of Dave's favorite teams. At TCU, tricky or tough?
We're supposed to do this simultaneously.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
All right.
Tricky? I can't see
tricky.
everybody.
Tricky.
Tricky.
Brandon says tough, so. of
At
course
TCU is a tough place to play.
No, it's not.
Why is it not?
At noon, everything plays at 11 o'clock local time.
this is
Everything plays into.
This is a rivalry.
Okay.
This is a rivalry that goes back. They were like number 3 and 4 in the college football playoff. The first one in 2014. They hate each other. This is a tough game.
Neither
every
place
single
has
year.
a tough
TCU,
place.
yeah, that's a tough game, but
Nobody
TCU is not
circles
tough.
TCU.
No.
Yeah.
No.
No one's like, oh, I don't want to go to Fort
Baylor,
Worth.
yes.
Not a tough place.
I am 100% right here.
I would
Okay.
say Waco is tougher to play than TCU.
TCU is a tough place to play under Gary Patterson.
Wrong.
I will not back down from that.
Wrong.
Tricky.
Okay,
Wrong.
I think it's tricky
You
too.
still haven't really grasped
No,
the
he has
concept
not.
of this.
No,
That's
it's
fine.
so clear.
This will be an ongoing fun
Yeah.
game where you don't
No,
know.
no.
Yeah.
TCU is a tough place to play.
It's not.
No.
How is TCU not a tough place to
Nobody's
play?
sitting at the beginning of the season being like, you know where we really don't want to go? Fort
Right.
Worth, Texas.
Earth.
That's not the biggest game
It
on anyone's
sneaks up
schedule.
on you. We agree it's tough, but
It's
it's no
tricky.
one's like openly being like, oh, we got to watch out.
Right.
They just
Baylor
sneak
and
up on you.
TCU circle this game. It is tough wherever it is played for either team.
Yeah, the game is tough. The stadium, like playing at TCU is not tough. It's tricky. We'll try this
11
again.
o'clock in the morning.
We will
local
agree to
time.
disagree. I will be
We're
right.
going to do that the whole time.
Yeah, we'll try this again. Number 19, Wake Forest at Virginia Tech, the 3:30 game.
Okay. They're losing
this
this.
is a
They're
tough one.
losing this status, though.
This is perfect.
They're
this is playing out
slowly losing
exactly.
this status.
Tough.
Tough.
Brandon saying tricky.
Tough.
This could not
They
have
are
been
losing
oh,
the
and
stats.
they got
They're
it.
losing this
They are
status.
losing the
The
stats.
only
I think it
question.
being at 3:30 hurts the
Right.
tough.
The only
If it
question.
was at 7 to be a no-brainer.
I mean, it's well known. It's one of the toughest places to play in the
Yes.
country. They have it
Enter
hasn't been the same
Sandman.
since
Enter
Beamer
Sandman
left,
is
but
very
Enter
tough, not
Sandman,
tricky.
That was the most electric environment I've been in college football.
They're close. I would say I'm giving them one more year. Next year, and then I'm taking away their tough status.
Okay.
You can lose it. You
They
can lose
also
your tough.
played much better as of late.
Yeah, it's true.
Brandon is losing his mind.
Do you guys remember when Duke walked into Lane Stadium about 5 weeks ago and beat the shit out of them on national TV?
You just don't understand what we're doing here.
Yeah,
That's
you
the
I
thing.
don't, I
You
don't
don't
think that you
understand
understand.
Good segue though.
I understand.
Now
This is not a tough place to play in 2019.
Enter
It's not a
Sandman.
tough place to play.
This is not like a
Blacksburg.
1 week. You got to look at the scheme of college
It's
football.
history. It's tradition.
Blacksburg.
Yeah.
Noise.
Special teams.
Did you guys-
block
Everything.
punts.
Do you guys plan this?
No,
That's
you
that's
were
what I'm
that
saying. It's
dumb.
actually.
I hate
it's-
to
No, I
invoke-
didn't mean to say dumb.
I was
Don't
gonna
say
say
dumb.
I hate to invoke memories, but you're acting like a very dumb idiot from
I'm
Mississippi.
not acting like a dumb idiot from Mississippi, and it was not idiot.
It was actually
moron.
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 So the alliteration makes it pop.
It's really going to be great if we go 3 for 3 here. So speaking of
pushes
Duke,
us.
number 15 Notre Dame at Duke, 7:30 game, tricky or tough?
That's neither.
No, I've elevated this one.
You
Tricky,
have?
Yeah.
I say it's neither.
Oh,
It can't be
F.
tough.
Ed, what do you
definitely
think?
not tough.
Tough is off the table.
I say tricky just because Duke they've been scrappy this
Sneaky.
year.
Duke has been
They've been
Yeah, but that's
scrappy.
neither.
They've
The
had
up and down,
stadium,
though.
the team is tricky. The stadium
David
is not.
Cutcliffe is the
Yeah.
coach.
I don't know, it's
They've had
tricky,
big
yeah.
deficits. They've come back.
You're
I'd
talking
say
about the
tricky.
team, though.
David
The team.
Cutcliffe,
I'm saying
not the
they're a
stadium
decent
itself.
team.
Not the
They've shown to be
atmosphere.
a scrappy team.
You're
The
talking about
atmosphere
the
is
team, not the stadium. We're talking about when we do tricky or tough. It
I
doesn't
know it's a
matter. That's
combo,
why
though.
Isn't that
Virginia
over
Tech,
10
though.
It's a combo.
It's a
Virginia
combo.
Tech
Yeah,
is
no,
not.
they're not good, but it's a
they're
combo.
tough.
Lane Stadium makes up for it. It's a combo. Like Duke is, to me, tricky. That is the team like you totally sleep on going there, and they can bite you.
They've shown to be scrappy.
If
They've
Notre
really shown
Dame
to be
was
scrappy
better this year, like if they were like in the top 5, you probably would not say this was a tricky or tough place to play. You'd be like,
No,
no,
I
Notre
do.
Dame's
I
going to roll into
think
Duke.
I think Duke is tricky.
You guys agree?
I said
got
tricky
it.
too,
Yeah.
Dave.
You got
Good
it.
for you, Brandon.
And
There it
you.
is.
That's great. Well, we'll continue to do tricky and tough because obviously Brandon still hasn't grasped it, but we'll see if that can happen next week. But for now, we're going to go to Caleb at Arizona State for concussion protocol. He wanted to talk to girls about why they dress slutty for Halloween.
Here at Arizona State, only a few things really matter, and none of those things are school.
In fact, at Arizona State, school is the least important thing ever. The only things that do matter are looking hot, raging face, and getting huge on Instagram. And for the women of ASU, there's one opportunity each fall semester to attempt to do all 3 of those things in one night. A terrifying trifecta called Halloween. Forget the homecoming football game and final exams. School before Christmas climaxes only one way in Tempe. The Halloween Fit Pick.
I'm stressed.
Instagram is a shining beacon that signals one's place inside the social hierarchy, and its unprecedented impact has left Arizona State girls competing in a most unusual contest.
Who can dress bigger of a slut?
You are as slutty as you can get with all of your
out.
costumes. You figure out how to make each and every one of them sluttier.
I haven't seen one girl ever say, "Oh, I'm not gonna dress like a slut for Halloween."
Even if it's not like supposed to be slutty, you have to find a way to make it slutty.
Arizona State has long been known as an institution of easy virtue.
What would you say the stereotype of Arizona State girls is?
Slutty.
Slutty.
Slutty. I didn't have to think about that. Slutty.
While stereotypes typically stem from some sort of truth, there's usually a larger picture to be painted. For example, if these girls' main focus was racking up likes, comments, and follows, and they believed the fastest way to do it was lingerie, of course their Halloween options were limited.
So I have this that you could put with the black bra, but if I wear the black bra with these, with the fishnets, I could put it with that.
However, as an Instagram user myself, I wasn't convinced lingerie was the only route. I wanted to help, but first I needed to learn the Halloween Fit Pick do's and don'ts.
Is there one costume in particular that you don't like at all? That you're like, you'll never catch me dead in this costume?
I would never wear a cat.
No, I don't want to do the like cat ears
Cat,
or bunny
bunny,
ears or anything like
anything.
that.
Although a classic, it seemed the cat was a costume that belonged to a shameful side of these girls' culture, a side no one wanted to be a part of.
What is the thing you want to avoid when you're picking out your costume? What's the number one thing you don't want to happen?
To be basic.
In my interviews, being basic was a fear that came up time and time again.
I feel like the reason we haven't decided with an outfit is because we don't want to be basic, and that's the thing, most sexy costumes are like basic.
It's already been done
So,
over and over
yeah.
again. Like, you need something new every year. You need to be the one who's creative, like thinking out of the box with your costume.
I've been a devil like the past 4 years. I'm kind of over it.
The best example of looking basic on Halloween has to be the devil costume.
I was an angel and she was a devil.
Devil and angel.
When's the last time you were a devil?
Last weekend, so I was a devil.
You've been a devil within the last week?
Yes.
Dressing as the devil was a temptress who had seduced everyone I spoke with at least once. And after their first-hand experiences of looking basic on the gram, none of the girls were eager to repeat the mistake. Luckily for them, I didn't show up empty-handed.
I actually have some costumes that I think you girls will really like that aren't basic at all.
Bring it on.
We'll
Let's
see.
go.
First option, choir singer.
No.
Why?
It's too covering. No. You just like
I
wouldn't
thought
look
that was
cute
like
in
a
that.
Pope outfit.
I thought it was a
like, why is
graduation gown,
Oh,
like
'cause
for
I
a
guess
sec.
too,
Yeah.
I mean,
But
I'm not trying to graduate.
Since you mentioned it, graduate.
I mean, like, you can maybe make that cute if you put lingerie underneath it, but
That's the only thing is I don't know. I think this zips up. I didn't zip it up.
oh.
This one I do think you're gonna like a lot.
Is that a
What if you were a nurse?
But it fits the very basic part, though.
Yeah,
Nurse
it's
is
always like a
sexy
doctor nurse. It's just
so
it's very
basic.
Oh.
So basic.
What if you weren't sexy nurse and you were just a regular nurse?
Then what's the point?
Emergency responder.
Even though I had presented them with some classy and conservative options that honored some of our country's most underappreciated public servants, the girls were not satisfied. So, to find a deeper understanding of what they thought would work, we went to a Halloween store where I was fully prepared to finance whatever internet-breaking costume they found.
Is that a ref?
We could
Or we could be little Hawaiian girls.
Or we could
Little
be a
coconut
ref
bra.
and a sports player and match. I don't know. I'm just
I feel like it kind of has some plot holes.
Yeah, this is so hard.
You gotta wear pants if you're a ref.
We can wear like booty shorts.
But if you're a ref, it just won't be believable if you have booty shorts.
Oh, it'll be believable with
You
that
just need a
tab.
whistle.
But you want people to know what you're being, right?
Yeah, but they'll see the stripes on black and white, they'll get it.
Still has to fit the criteria of sexy.
It does.
I left the costume store befuddled. Being a referee isn't about being sexy. It's about calling a fair game. And these girls were out of bounds. As the night of Halloween drew near, we were no closer to winning Instagram.
Here's the only thing though. Here's the issues. I've already worn that.
I've worn
I
that.
posted on Instagram with this. This is a bit much.
I was starting to wonder, what if we did fail? What did Instagram success truly mean to them?
For the clout. It's the clout chase.
What does clout mean to you?
Clout is all fun. It's fun and games for me. I mean, it can matter in a standpoint for sometimes, but like, at the end of the day, it's like it doesn't really bother me.
That's an answer from someone it would bother in a major way, and I could not let her down. But I was out of moves. I'd already suggested costumes, took the girls shopping, and even used ideas that they liked and improved them to make them actually believable. Of course, there was still one surefire way to dominate Instagram.
You gotta have the booty out, or you gotta have the boobs out. You gotta have a little cleavage action going.
But if the girls didn't want to be basic, and basic means being like everyone else, and everyone else was also going booty out, then wasn't that, by definition, basic? If these girls wanted their engagements to explode, we had to think outside their box. Then suddenly I stumbled upon a revelation. Nothing works better on Instagram than a throwback. And there's no better throwback than the one that goes back to the very foundation of Halloween itself.
Okay, look.
Scary. I never thought of that.
Forget slutty. Forget sexy. I'm talking about ghouls, goblins, and ghosts. Why not be scary?
I mean, I feel like guys just don't like scary when it comes to girls.
You're wrong. Forget about sexy. Forget about it. What we're trying to do.
Forget about sex.
No, because we're trying to get the sweet spot between you don't want to be basic, we don't want to be slutty.
So it's like scary, but
Yeah.
you can't be slutty at the same time.
You can't be, no, so listen.
No.
But you can't.
We're not going for
no.
that. We're not going for that.
Okay.
We're going for this. This is the foundation of what Halloween was based on. Scary.
We don't know how to do that.
Yeah, we don't know how
We
to
don't know how to.
We
not
know how to do like
that.
slutty scary, but I
Yeah.
don't know about just scary.
You might have to show this.
So I tried. And I found the girls were naturals when it came to being scared. However, as I began to indoctrinate them to the ways of the scarer, they had their concerns.
This is not breathable. I don't know how people do this.
Despite dropping several $100s on what I was told was a movie quality prosthetic, the girls weren't interested. So I tried something a little more understated.
What if you did instead of all that other scary stuff, a little more subtle, an itchy wound?
That's disgusting. I would not do that.
I don't know what this one is, but I feel like you guys could really pull it off.
Oh, it's like a burn wound.
I think this one might just be psoriasis.
I gave some good options, but the girls just weren't impressed.
See, I don't want to like be anything or add any accessories to my costume where I'm like, ew.
They didn't seem to see my vision.
But how do I put it on?
You would need
Oh yeah, we might need some tape. or something.
I have a adhesive. I have double-sided tape. Should I get it?
How bad did they really want it?
We could. I mean, I'd be down. If you wear it, I'll wear it. Okay. Should we do it?
No, we're not gonna ruin our cute outfits with.
He said he was just
What's
talking
the
about.
point,
Dude,
though?
look at this. Basic.
Well, like, what is actually the point?
Scary, dude. It's the point of it is scary.
Finally, a breakthrough.
So like we just let him convince us to change our costumes. Why?
Then we're not changing our costumes. We went
we
a
are.
different route.
A different route indeed. Halloween presented a haunting problem for many at Arizona State. With their backs against the wall and basic costume ideas omnipresent, it was easy for these students to feel like there was only one sure way to gain the favor of their peers. And while there's nothing inherently wrong with showing some skin, it's an essential and important life lesson to know that there's never only one way to do something. Through the combination of creative thinking and a knowledge of history, we can all find monumental breakthroughs in our own personal journeys. The peak moment in the life of any costume is the moment it is forever immortalized in the hallowed halls of Instagram. And although none of the girls wanted to convert to all the way scary for their flick up, in the end they all decided to incorporate at least some spooky elements.
Yeah, people are gonna like that a lot, for sure.
Summer and Jade made their nun and inmate costumes terrifying through the addition of a few wounds. McKenna upped the ante on her already spooky dead bride costume by putting fake blood on her bra so it looked like her boobs were bleeding. Katie and Erica weren't scary at all in their Bratz and Barbie costumes, but even they were willing to hold some dead babies for their Instagram post. Our collaborative pursuit of the best costumes ended up being a clinic in compromise, and it paid off. Each one of the girls flooded the gram with fire fit pics, generating buzz and engagement across the internet streets. It was a real-life example of the magic that can happen when good people work together towards a common goal. As the photo shoots wrapped up and the likes and comments started to roll in, I couldn't help but feel like my work was done. So in celebration of a rewarding day, I decided to meet the girls out on the town to make sure no basic bitches were weighing them down.
Why are you wearing that? Like, why do you have blood on you? Like,
Yeah, you said,
it's Halloween.
and I'm trying to be what?
Halloween, bitch. I'm trying to be sexy.
And?
And scary.
She just learned about it, so that's probably why scary seemed like an afterthought.
Where's your,
It came off. Yeah,
Your
I
wounds.
It came off in the pregame. I just didn't want to look sick.
Oh no! I think the girls forgot everything I taught them.
So your brat still, what did you change to?
A hooker. I changed
A what?
hooker.
It's true. Erica had changed out of her Barbie costume and took another Insta as a prostitute, and through which violated even one of her own rules.
But
then
no
just
cheeks
accessories.
out. No cheeks
Yeah,
out.
no cheeks.
You said no cheeks. You said you weren't doing cheeks.
She did some butt cheeks.
What was the thinking behind that?
She's a hooker.
Well, fair enough.
All right, so everybody knows it's easy for girls to dress slutty for Halloween, but this girl going as a prostitute, that is a whole new level of being slutty for Halloween.
Lean into it.
No, I mean, it's great. I mean, why
Smart.
not? But like, I just wouldn't have guessed a prostitute had even a costume. Like, how do you dress as a prostitute?
I would have thought you need a pimp. Generally, if you have the pimp with the prostitute, they play
Yep.
off.
Well, there was the pimp.
Who, Caleb?
No, yeah, you saw the pimp in the video.
Got it.
How was your Halloween, Dave? You went as a character from Jaws.
Yeah, I was Quint getting eaten by a shark. Didn't play that great, if we're being totally honest. A lot
What
of
do you
people
mean?
didn't know what it was.
They didn't understand it?
Didn't know what it was. The shark costume was a little bit off. Showed my age a little bit. It didn't go over as well as I had hoped.
I thought the idea was excellent.
The idea was great. Execution, not the best.
Yeah, it didn't help that you were standing next to Elio.
Yeah.
As a jockey?
Elio was a jockey.
Like a lawn ornament.
Yeah.
He did kind of look like a lawn ornament.
Yeah.
So whatever. I took a
Did
shot.
a lot of people have to ask you what it was? Or do they just not care?
It was a pretty even combo of like people asking me and then the answer not caring.
You can try again next year. Maybe go as somebody's pimp like Caleb did.
Yeah.
Maybe.
There you go. All right, let's get back into the Bud Light weekend preview. The best way to enjoy college football game days are with refreshing, crisp Bud Light. Two very big games this weekend with playoff implications. The first one being number 4 Penn State at number 17 Minnesota. This is the Governor's Victory Bell. It's the first time they played since 2016. Penn State right now favored by 7, and the total is 47.5. And obviously Penn State getting that 4th spot in the college football playoff. Is James Franklin and this team for real, Dan?
I think Penn State is for real, and this is more, I'm going to take Penn State, but it's more because I don't think Minnesota's for real. They've played no one, absolutely no one. They beat 3 really bad teams by a combined 13 points to start the season. They've played Nebraska, Maryland, Rutgers, basically the bottom of the Big Ten. This is what happens. The Big Ten West, if you're in the Big Ten West, every few years, a team can get to November undefeated. It happened a few years ago with Iowa. It happened a couple years ago with Wisconsin. This year, it just happens to be Minnesota. I think this is when it stops. They also have not, as of yesterday, they had not sold out the stadium.
Which is crazy.
Crazy.
That's insane.
Yeah,
Crazy.
I don't believe it.
It's the biggest.
I showed it. I saw it.
It's the biggest game in the history of Minnesota football.
Yeah, he had to do the, please come out.
Yep. Nope. Don't believe it.
I think it will be sold out.
I think it'll be sold
But
out. I think it's to be loud. I think it's to be ruckus. I think Penn State keeps it close, largely because I'm not sold on Penn State. But
no, Minnesota keeps it close.
That's what I meant.
Yeah.
I think Minnesota keeps it close. I think they could win the game. And I think it'll be a loud ruckus environment.
It's their best season since 1941. It would be crazy if that game wasn't sold out.
Yeah, it would be crazy. They have a trophy for this game? What'd you call it?
It's the Governor's Victory Bell.
They don't play every year, and they have a trophy for that game.
No, they haven't
That's
played
crazy.
since 2016, and the last time Minnesota actually won this game, they broke the trophy as soon as they were given it.
Well, that's bad
because
karma.
they realigned like the Big Ten, so that changed.
Yeah, that's right. So Penn State and Minnesota. Listen, Minnesota hasn't played a top 30 team yet, and they've also had great luck with the teams they have played. They played a lot of backup quarterbacks. They've really caught some breaks in their schedule. They can't hang with Penn State. Penn State's going to go in there. Penn State's going to beat the piss out of them.
You bring up a good point. I think 5 out of 8 of the games they've played a second or third string quarterback.
Right. They have played backup quarterbacks all year.
Penn State probably should have lost to Michigan. Good win at home. You should beat Michigan at home.
there.
And then Penn State squeaks by Iowa, who kind of stinks too. So I'm not sold on Penn State.
But Minnesota is the only reason that people are even talking about it is because they're 8-0. It's not because they're actually looking good when they're playing.
Well, they've looked pretty good the last couple of weeks.
The last couple of weeks, yeah, but it's been against the really bad teams.
Yeah, well,
Maryland and Rutgers, anyone looks good against.
Yeah, well, and so that's how Penn State. I don't think Penn State certainly hasn't looked like Ohio State. So, I could be wrong. I don't think Penn State's nearly as good people think they are. I think Minnesota keeps this game close, potentially wins it. And the environment, I know PJ, whatever he's saying, get out there, get loud. Minnesota people are sports nuts. This place will be rocking.
It's 11 a.m.
Yeah.
But again, it's also
early.
The biggest game in Minnesota's college football
11
history.
a.m. changes things.
People coming out to see our fucking radio show at 11 a.m.
It's
when
true.
we're at.
I know.
It's like 9 a.m.
Yeah, they'll be ready. Minnesota will be ready. I like those Minnesota people.
Dan, you've been talking about James Franklin being on the Fuck You tour last night whenever the rankings did come out. Did you see his tweet where he just tweeted Minnesota a million times and everybody loved it?
No.
He just tweeted Minnesota in all caps like 17 times and people thought it was the coolest thing ever.
What is this all Fuck You tour that
Well,
he's
I
doing?
thought he was going on a Fuck You tour. Then Michigan played a lot
Yeah,
better.
I
Michigan.
mean, he's the number 4 team in the country.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
it's
they
like,
beat Michigan. Michigan hasn't had a real win in 1,000 years
they
until
beat
last
Notre
week.
Dame.
Notre Dame, who stinks. Notre Dame's a cookie school. I don't play for freshly baked cookies, and they barely got by Iowa. So Penn State, this Fuck You tour, no.
I mean, until they
lose.
lose, they still are technically on a tour like
Well,
that.
then Minnesota's on a Fuck You tour.
That's a good
I mean,
point.
I can't argue with that. Cannot argue with that. And then also, one of their starting defensive ends got suspended for spitting on somebody. Do you
Who?
think? Antonio Shelton for
what?
Penn State.
Ah.
He's suspended for spitting on a
That's
Michigan State.
Not the
player.
worst thing that's happened in
I
Penn
know,
State.
that's vintage Penn State. State Penn, Rico Bosco. They're spitting on people.
So you would suspend him
Fluids,
too?
bodily fluids always are getting exchanged at that school.
Okay. Well, I'm going to take Penn. That's disgusting. I'm going to take Penn State as well, but I just cannot talk about this game less. Let's go to the biggest game of the week, obviously. Getting the headlines, number 2 LSU versus number 3 Alabama, or if you're looking at the AP poll, this is the number 1 team versus the number 2 team. It's at 3:30 in Tuscaloosa, which stinks, by the way, the fact it's not a night game. CBS.
Love it at 3:30.
Why?
That when I think SEC football, I think 3:30 CBS.
Yeah, I'm kind
This
of sold on that
I hate
on
it.
the afternoon.
I
I've
guess if
seen
it
at
was
night
in
so
Baton
many
Rouge,
times.
if it was
Yeah.
in Baton Rouge, it would be different. But I can't.
It's just
think
3:30.
This should be the night game.
3:30 SEC game. That's it.
Well, yeah, but CBS can have it at night.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think 3:30 does mean SEC football, but this game, it's always at
I'm about
night.
to say,
This game
you
feels
sing in
like
a
it
different
should be
tune.
at night. This game should be the
Absolutely.
#1 sporting event of the weekend, should be at night, but
It
you
is.
know what?
Yeah,
It
but
is the number one
but,
sport.
but,
It is.
but 3:30 is a better weekend time slot than the night. The prime time, you're losing tons of people going out, have activities, all blows.
I guess I was just being selfish. I like laying on the couch and watching LSU and Alabama just beat the piss out of each other.
At night.
It's been a tradition in this decade, dating all the way back to that first #1 and #2 game in 2011, 9-6, which is one of my favorite games of all
I
time.
had the over.
Did you?
They were moving the ball.
9-6 though.
They were moving the ball.
Didn't you go to this game last year, Dan?
Yes.
And it was at night, right?
Yes.
So
And
obviously-
LSU, well, that's Death Valley at night.
Right.
And LSU has not scored a touchdown against Alabama in 2 years.
29-0 last year.
Yeah.
That'll probably change.
Sucked.
So Bama is favored by 6.5 right now. Tua Tagovailoa obviously is injured, but he should be playing at that tightrope procedure, which I think is witch doctor shit. But he is supposed to play, and then obviously Joe Burrow being up there as one of the Heisman candidates this year, this should be fun.
So I think everything on paper should scream LSU. I don't think Alabama's defense is very good. Alabama's played a terrible schedule. They've beaten nobody. I can't bet against Nick Saban in this spot. At home, Nick Saban doesn't seem like he loses these games. I want to pick LSU. I want to bet LSU. I want to think Ed Orgeron gets over the hump. Their offense is better than it's ever been. Their defense is as good as Alabama's defense, but I have to back Nick Saban here, -6.5.
Okay.
Pretty good for a dumb Mississippi guy. I was originally on LSU for everything you said, and then I got in my own head. You don't get rich betting against Alabama. You never do. Nick Saban, I know we like Coach O here. I was one of the original Coach O interim ed. We got the T-shirts. Nick Saban is a far superior coach in every facet of the game. I'll take Alabama. And would it shock me if LSU stayed in the number or even won this game? No. But as a rule, you do not get rich betting against Alabama. I will take the Tide.
This is going to be a heart over head game for me. I like LSU. I love Coach O. I root for LSU. I'm going to take LSU, even though my head says take Alabama for everything that Dave said and for everything that Brandon said.
You're taking the points, or you're taking them to win
No, I'm
outright?
going to take the points,
Okay.
and then I'll probably take the money line, and then I'll probably take the over just for the entertainment factor.
I like the over, and I
64.
also, as Brandon was saying earlier, how Alabama hasn't played anybody. I think that actually greatly works in their favor here.
Because they haven't had to
They've
show
just
how
been
good they are.
loading up, waiting for LSU, just waiting. Well, LSU has had a lot of tough games, and that does wear you down in an SEC season. So I think the fact this is Alabama's first time to throw their best punch, they've been waiting for it. I think that works in their favor as well.
Yeah, I think that's right, but I look at this number, over under 64. Can you imagine an Alabama-LSU game with an over under 64? That's unprecedented.
Yeah,
it's unprecedented, and like the over makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, LSU is a drastically different team this year with Burrow than they have in the last decade.
And Alabama's defense is, I don't think it's very strong this year, and they haven't been tested yet, but Tennessee tested them, and Tennessee
What's the
stinks.
weakness of their defense?
Linebacker level.
And they don't have any depth either, so if somebody
And they
gets
just
hurt, like,
lost
they
a line.
stink.
They just lost a stand-up defensive end and a linebacker as well.
Yeah, in Alabama, you have been able to move the ball through the air a little bit, and LSU can throw
And
it.
obviously, yeah, and Joe Burrow looks completely different in this offense. I think it's going to be closer than 6.5, so I'm going to take LSU in the points, but I do think Alabama is going to win outright in Tuscaloosa because, again, you can't bet against Nick Saban. It's time for One Blade Trivia. I know, Brandon, hopefully you only have to do one this week. One Blade is the one tool that will let you trim, edge, and shave any length of facial hair with a single pass. It's easy to use and it's versatile. One Blade does it all. Now, Frank the Tank bodied you in trivia earlier this week. Dan and Dave have been ruining this segment, so I really hope today goes better for you.
I'd fuck you up, Frank.
Whoa!
What was the final score of the game?
2019.
That's right.
Brandon, you can't stop this thing.
What was the length of the field goal Scott Norwood missed?
I might be off by a yard or two, but I think it was 47 yards.
That's correct. The Dolphins beat the Redskins in the Super Bowl to finish a perfect season. This is easy. What was the final score?
14-7.
My old iced coffee goes, ew.
Would have been 17-0.
Garo Upremian fucked up and threw it to the Redskins. See, I don't fuck around either, Frank.
Stay over there.
First of all, the Frank the Tank thing is a mischaracterization of what happened.
You said I will fuck you up in trivia, Frank.
Willingly
and then he fucked you up in trivia.
He asked me 0 questions. I asked him 5 easy questions. It is going to be settled later on.
Did you gain respect for the Tank?
I knew he was a sports trivia guy, and I wanted to build up and see how good he was, and he was excellent. So I did gain a lot of respect. I can't beat him in trivia.
I mean, the guy.
He is incredible.
So then he bodied you.
He didn't body me. I was trying to see what he had, and I saw it.
You're surprised the sports encyclopedia guy knew his stuff?
Not surprised. I wanted to test him out. I wanted to see him in action.
You said you would fuck him up. I was.
That was me just setting. That was me saying a joke. I was funny at the time.
Yeah.
I told you. Okay.
It was very serious.
One blade trivia.
It's tough to be like, oh, I'm funny, I'll fuck you up coming off an assault.
Hashtag one blade trivia.
That's a very good point. You're a serious guy.
You can win prizes. Last week's winner, Brandon McCollum, he answered this question. The only school ever to have the #1 NBA and NFL draft pick in the same season. It was Alex Smith and Andrew Bogut of the Utah Utes. That happened in 2005. Now, this week's question, who was the team that was #1 in the first ever college football playoff rankings?
I know this one.
Who was the team that was #1 in the first ever college football playoff rankings?
Oh, yeah, Mississippi State. And then he did it, and then that was the thing. He was waiting, so now that's the real one. That's the real one.
Now the real question.
Good job, Kayce.
You wanted me to ruin it?
No, he set us up.
He wanted that answer.
He wanted us to say it so he could be like, oh, you ruined it again, guys. Here's
I wasn't going to ruin it because I didn't want to hear about it on the podcast today, but I wanted Dan to ruin it.
Oh, shucks. Luckily, I have a second question. Kayce Keenum is the all-time leader in passing yards in the NCAA. Who is second?
Andre Ware.
That is incorrect.
Colt Brennan.
That is incorrect.
David Klingler. Is that who the first was?
That is incorrect.
Who was first?
Kayce Keenum is first.
I'm just going with those Houston guys.
So, if you want to guess that,
Colt Brennan.
that is incorrect.
Colt Brennan?
That is incorrect. So, hashtag one blade trivia.
I really
You
wanted
can
you guys to
win
ruin that one.
prizes, and one person up here has been close.
Danny
but
Werfel.
He is still incorrect. So that's one blade trivia.
You get a Phillips Norelco one blade, and you get Barstool merch, and the boys didn't ruin it this time.
Well, they tried.
Are you proud of yourself? Yeah, I mean, I'm never going to ruin it for you because I don't want to hear you.
One person was
bitch,
close?
but-
What does that mean? Same team?
No.
Who'd you guess?
Who was close?
Apparently Dan
Chang
was close.
and Brennan would be, you'd
Yeah,
have to
very
say were
close.
close.
That's what I thought.
Well, it's a technicality here, but I can't give it to you.
Brandon, what do you mean?
I can't give it to him. He's saying the wrong name.
Tommy Chan?
I mean, what do you want me to say here?
What is his fucking name? Last name? I'm close enough.
Chan, right?
So
Chang.
just give it to me.
Okay.
Tommy what?
It's not Tommy.
Oh.
His name is Timmy Chang.
Timmy
I
Chang
can't
is the
give
same
it
as
to
Tommy
him. I can't give that to him.
Timmy Chang and
That's
Tommy Chang
incorrect.
are the same person.
Tomatoes, tomatoes.
That's bullshit.
I'm on his side
Oh,
here.
Timmy
if
Chang.
If someone submitted that answer via the
Who's
tweet,
Tommy Chan?
I don't know. You made that.
Cheech and Chong?
Cheech and
Oh,
Chong.
that's
Tommy
what it
Chong.
was. It was Cheech and Chong.
Yeah, so that's fair.
That's
He's
it.
right.
But I
He's
knew,
right.
you knew that I knew.
If you don't want to spoil it, then don't say it's close.
Yeah, that's true. Because
But I was right there. The Tommy
You're
Chang,
right there.
Tommy Chang is Cheech and Chong, and then Timmy Chang is the guy who had a shitload of interceptions though.
Adjusting the question so we can have a question out there for everybody. Do not guess. I actually don't know, so I'll just make this the answer. Who is third on that list? That is your question. So number 1, Kayce Keenum. Number 2, Timmy Chang. Who is
Colt
third
Brennan.
on the all-time list?
And you don't know the answer.
I don't know. I'll look it up. We'll have an answer.
No, I know.
Right.
So right now, they can't
Okay.
ruin it because I don't know it.
Probably Colt Brennan.
Yeah, it's probably Colt Brennan.
Okay,
David
probably
Klingler.
doesn't count.
I just vote Klingler for everything. I just go through the Houston quarterbacks.
Yeah,
Andre
yeah.
Ware, David Klingler.
My new favorite thing is watching them ruin your trivia. I don't know what that
Well,
says.
you actually ruined it today first, Kayce.
Well, no,
but
I
you
would.
walked
I
into
would.
my trap, my
I would,
brilliantly
well, I
laid
would
trap.
never say it out loud because I'm hosting this and I don't want you to be mad at me because you get angry.
I
and
don't.
You shove people.
I'm fine.
Let's go to the
Assault.
viral moments of the week with Big Ev.
I can't believe his name's Timmy.
All right, the first viral moment of the week. I'm sure everyone saw this. The pictures came, everything was coming. Dan Mullen's wife, Megan Mullen, getting very, very intimate with some Florida players before games. I don't.
She kisses every single
I'm
one of
just
them.
going off what I see.
Dan Mullen's a cuck.
Megan Mullen.
No, that's here. This is my theory. Felipe Franks stinks. He was the starter for so long. We've shown the backups behind him this year are way better. We might have a Felipe Franks wife threesome cuck situation. I don't know what's going
It's a
on.
little much.
He loves
he's-
Dan Mullen.
Megan Mullen is a saint. Megan
very
Mullen's
nice.
a
Well,
you
wonderful
probably
person.
kissed her on the lips.
I
I'm
haven't.
saying you
She's-
do not grab a grown man's hand on his face.
No,
if there's something
I'm down with
intimate.
it. It's because they're doing it in public like that. That's good. She's loving him up. It's you don't want the
Every single
what's it,
player.
Jimbo Fisher? Is
Yeah,
that the
Jimbo
rumors?
Fisher.
Yeah, you don't want that. That's about. You don't see his wife doing that in public.
Megan Mullen.
Hiding in plain sight.
Megan Mullen's son and my daughter were on the same t-ball team, and she hugs all the kids. She's an affectionate woman. She lets them know they're all loved and appreciated.
That was the closest you've ever gotten to celebrity.
No, I'm probably just as famous as Megan Mullen right now.
But you don't think that it's different when it's like
Besides, I'm close to you. I'm sitting next to you. You're more
No,
famous
I'm
than Megan Mullen.
No, the Mullen family. Like I would assume if you shared a t-ball team, Dan Mullen came to a couple of them.
He did.
And you stood
He
next
did,
to
and
him.
in fact, he was the coach pitcher when they would do the coach pitch at the
wow.
end of the season. So yeah,
Megan Mullen is very nice. I've met her a couple times,
She's a
but
saint.
I do think that it is weird that she does it. Like these are grown men. These aren't kids.
Coach him up. She's
lot-
trying to be
the pictures don't do it justice.
I
She
know,
hugs him
a
and
lot
kisses
of
him on the
hands
cheeks.
touching, a lot of nose touching.
Oh, you
I
should
don't know.
talk over there, Ohio.
What? But no, I'm saying they're legal. No, that's legal contact. I'm just saying.
She kisses him on
I'd
the cheeks.
rather this than Tom Herman doing it.
That is a good point.
True.
Yeah, I mean, she's a beautiful woman.
Yeah,
so.
I feel like this was just the motherly, like team mother. I have no problem with it. None.
All
A lot of
right.
kissing.
Just throwing
It is
out
a lot
there.
of kissing.
It's like
There's a
100
lot
people
of,
on the
there's a lot of
roster.
Yeah,
intimate
you gotta
talk.
coach him up.
Lost a lot.
All right, moment number 2, Ev.
All right, moment number 2. Oregon sideline now has a built-in porta potty on their sideline. And as someone who has a youth piss his pants in a football game, I'm for this.
That's actually pretty cool.
It is very cool.
That is cool. Wait, what?
So when it was third grade Pee Wee football playoffs. I was a two-ways player, offensive, defensive line. It gets to a point where, are you going to check yourself out? Or are you going to just piss your pants and just will it out? I was the kind of guy, stay in the field, I piss my pants, I play the game out.
Where was the toilet? Where was the toilet?
What do you mean?
Well, the bottom didn't move.
It
just
would be
comes
funny
up.
if it was
It was
just
in
on the
that
grass.
booth. The
No.
booth, it just lifts
You can
up, and that's a place
see-
you can pee.
Yeah, I think
but
there's a
where's-
platform. I think there's
You can
Right
see
there.
the platform,
You
like
can
the
see
little
it
black
lift up.
thing.
It's
Yeah.
already there. It just, yeah,
It
covers
would be
It just
funny
collapses
though.
on top of it.
It would be
I
funny
see.
if they
Okay.
brought that to on only road games and just pissed on the ground.
Yeah, it would be.
But
very
just like
That's
Made it
undercover.
seem like it
Yeah,
was?
That would be cool.
Very smart. All right, Big Av, moment number 3.
All right, moment number 3. Jalen Hurts at a press conference this week was getting legitimately trolled by an Oklahoma reporter. Check the clip.
Just to clear it up, you prefer winning to losing this week?
That's
I just
weird.
mean,
What was that?
What was that?
I'm just saying,
Did he
said
say that
you
earlier?
prefer-
Did Hurts say that in some form?
No, I don't
No,
believe
like-
so. That's why I think it's so crazy that he's just clearly trolling him.
Because
This is like-
they're talking about the 1-0
Like you say,
thing a
oh,
lot.
you-
So
you
his whole thing is like, we're going to go 1-0 this week. We're going to go 1-0 this week. And I believe that was a follow-up to that.
He's just like, oh, you'd prefer winning over losing. Like, no shit. I think that was a clear troll.
I love going 1-0.
I think Jalen Hurts handled himself well there.
Yeah,
No,
he
he did. I mean, what are you going to say? Like, it's just...
It's strange. That
It's a
was a
dumb
strange
question.
clip.
Yeah.
That's where you need to save him because he'd kill that reporter.
Yeah,
He'd
he
be dead.
would be dead for sure. He would absolutely be dead.
Big Av, tell us about the Game Face Challenge.
What?
All right, Game Face Challenge. Remember to send in your submissions to be showcased. Phillips and Arelco Game Face Challenge. Shave your school into your head, beard, body, whatever you got. Hashtag Game Face Challenge. Submit it to us, and if it's good, we will put it on this show.
Were you going to say something about Nick Saban?
I can't. Did we talk about his expedite? He's going to play whoever expedites winning quote. I can't remember that. I don't know why we didn't. That's like my favorite last week when they were playing somebody terrible and the reporter asked him if he was going to get his backup some action. And that infuriated him. He's like, are you going to expedite how fast you get in your backup quarterback? And he freaked. He's like, I will play whoever expedites winning the game.
We're not assuming that we'll have opportunity just to play anybody that wants to play, to expedite anything except winning the game. So we're going to play everybody who can expedite winning the game. That's what we're going to do. So I don't think anybody should expect us to do anything else.
That's what we play. Whoever expedites winning the game. I love Saban.
Yeah, when he gets mad, he's allowed to because he's won so much. If you lose and you act like that, you're just an asshole. Let's go.
Then you become Nagy, the coach of the Bears.
Clown.
That one came from like hateful place.
Clown.
Very hateful.
That was a guttural clown.
Clown.
That one came from a very dark place. Time for PointsBet locks of the week. If you are in New Jersey, sign up for PointsBet with code Barstool, and when you deposit your first $10, you'll get $100 in bonus bets. Dave, you're 4-10, so you're slowly crawling out of the hole.
Yeah,
That's
well,
good.
the truth of the matter is we have the Pick'em show, and I think I am 23 and 10 the last 2 weeks in college football. So I am actually red hot. College football, I'm hot. In the NFL, I'm hot. I was plus 13 units last night in college basketball. So if you can bet on it, I know the outcome before it happens. I'm taking Kentucky at home against Tennessee. Tennessee is definitely playing better, but this is a tough road game, tough place to play. I love Kentucky here. Kentucky wins this game easy.
Okay. I'm going to go LSU, Alabama over 64. This is the just sitting down, watching the game, enjoying the game. You have to bet the over. I'm also going to throw in one extra, Illinois plus 15. I don't understand that line. Michigan State cannot score. I think they'll keep it within 2 touchdowns.
Brandon?
So I've got 2, Penn State -7 at Minnesota. I just don't think Minnesota's going to keep that game close. It's a great story, but it ends against Penn State.
Oh.
And in Lexington, Kentucky, Kentucky's not very good. Tennessee is playing better. Tennessee is going to go in there and they're going to win. Tennessee is the second lock.
Lock off.
He hates Kentucky.
Lock off.
Kentucky's not any good. Tennessee has turned the corner and they're going the right direction. They played Alabama very well. They've won several games back to back. They beat UAB, who's not any good, but they beat them 30-7. They
played Alabama very well because Tua got hurt. They were rolling.
They still played.
And Alabama throws like a dud in there every once in a while.
They still played Alabama very well for what Tennessee is right now. Tennessee is heading in the right direction. Kentucky is not. Kentucky's also going to
Wait, what does that mean they're not heading in the right direction?
Kentucky's not very good.
They didn't score against
Kentucky
Georgia.
also has a wide receiver playing quarterback, which is not good for any team.
Oh, I thought you guys liked Sawyer, whatever the fuck his name is.
This has nothing to do with Sawyer, but I'm saying right now they are down to a wide receiver playing quarterback.
Oh, it's not Sawyer Smith anymore?
Tennessee stops the run very, very well. That's the strength of their defense. Their pass defense is weak. Tennessee's going to win the game.
What are you looking up right now?
Just seeing how they've done recently, Kentucky.
Not good.
I think they're 3
Well,
and
I
6.
mean,
Missouri.
they
Missouri's also
beat the
very
absolute piss out of Missouri.
They did?
29-7, lost 21-0 to Georgia, not too bad. Beat Arkansas, lost to South Carolina, and they lost. That's why they lost Mississippi State.
Arkansas is the worst team.
there it is.
Arkansas is the worst team in the
Finally get
country.
to the
What was the score
bottom
of
of
that game?
24-20.
We get to the bottom of it.
We'll see.
Has nothing to do with that. Kentucky's a bad football team.
We'll see.
So is Tennessee.
Tennessee's a bad
Lock
football
off.
team going up.
Beauty of sports, world's greatest reality
We'll
show.
find
We'll
out.
find out.
I'm right.
All right, Big Ev, what do you got?
All right, I got a 4-team Big Ten special. I've got 1, the under in Purdue Northwestern. Northwestern has not scored a touchdown in 37 drives. Take
I
that
believe
under.
that.
Yep.
Another one.
I've been on them for about all of
The
those.
Penn State Minnesota under 47.5. Then I've got Wisconsin minus 9.5. I think they rout Iowa. Iowa stinks in Camp Randall. I think it's a blowout. And I've said every week, Ohio State has covered 7 weeks in a row. I don't care if the number's 40, 50, 60, 70. Take Ohio State.
Well,
to
if it
the
was
bag.
70, you wouldn't take them.
Oh, he still would.
Yes, I would.
He said last week that the only team they can lose to is himself.
7 weeks in a row they've covered.
Just 70.
and
Can't take
7 in a row.
Think about it. If
All
they
right,
had to cover
all right.
it.
Let's do a side bet. Ohio State minus 70. I'll take the points.
Give me 50. Make it
Oh, that
just
changes
realistic.
it dramatically.
Take the
50,
7.
I mean, that's 3 touchdown difference. I said 70.
Is there any team you would take 70 against?
Probably a lot. I have to dig deep. A lot of the mid majors, all that bullshit. What about
Didn't they already beat somebody by 70 this year?
Give me 60. How about
No,
60?
no. I mean, the thing that we did, which you're not catching on, is I said 70.
And you said I'd take 70.
Right, and then I said let's make a bet. You said how about 50? So I mean, sorry.
Figures. Fuck it. 70.
right.
Let's go.
Okay,
Fuck it.
okay,
Fuck
well,
it.
that's
Yeah, there's
poor.
70.
What are we gonna bet?
70.
We gotta figure it out.
We'll figure
tweet
it
out. You have minus 70. We'll do something.
All right.
It's a real bet.
70.
Something neither of us want to lose.
77-0.
Yep. Ohio State minus 70 for Ev.
Oh,
Let's
you
go.
want speed 8
I don't care. I don't. You can make the fuck
he
it. Make
covers
the number
that-
a million. Like they will not score.
everyone's
They won't score a million points.
Fine, 100 then. I mean, what? A 70 is a real bet.
Whatever you want.
All right. Well,
I mean, he's going to win the bet because
I'll take him. I'll take minus
We'll
150.
call
You got
it
minus
6.
150.
We'll call it 60.
No, it's 70.
I'm saying being realistic. We'll call it 60.
It's 70.
70. Fuck it. All right. I'll
Just
give a
imagine
shit.
how legendary it is if you cover
I
this.
know.
No, because the problem is our backups are going to come in. All our running
Well,
backs.
that's why you
I
don't
know,
bet
that's why you don't
70.
say
You know what I
You
mean?
said you'd take him for
No, I'm
30,
saying you
40,
don't let me
50,
finish.
60,
I'm saying our
70. I
backups
said
are-
you won't take him 70, and you're like, yeah, I will. Now you're like, well, I'll take him at 50.
No, give me 70. And no.
Yeah,
you,
we know
you,
it's done.
You don't let me finish the
That's the
backup
bet.
comment. The thing is, when our backups come in, We won't stop scoring.
Okay, so you're 70.
70.
That's why you
You're
got
done.
Ohio
70.
State minus 7. So
70.
all right, so don't come back in literally 2 seconds say I meant like 50.
Hey,
you have them at 70.
That's in the past.
The bet
70.
is
Better hope
locked.
Ireland doesn't score.
Well, we got to come up with stakes for this now.
We'll figure it out. 70.
Oh, I know yours. You'll wear Michigan for a week.
I mean, a week's a lot for 70.
Yeah, well,
Oh, you're
this
big mouth.
is the bet.
You shouldn't have said it, Ev.
I was nervous laughing.
Well, I mean, I'm not here suck my dick on the table
here you
saying
go.
70 points.
Ev, if you win, he should have to wear like giant Super Bowl gear
You have to wear a David Tyree jersey.
Fine.
for a week.
For a week.
And
For a
he's got to
week.
wear Michigan stuff for a week.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
70.
Where do I
On
get
70?
Where do I get Michigan that fits him?
Fuck it, I don't give a shit. Let's
You
go.
already made the bet.
I know.
The bet is made. The bet is made.
Making the bet.
No, but now it's
done.
done.
Every 2 minutes it hits
He's like,
you.
you know what? Fuck it, I'm in. You're in.
Because now I just talked myself into it.
No, I know.
Well,
Fuck it.
You
We
talked-
did.
You talked yourself into it a long
So
time ago.
60.
70.
The bet
Take them all.
is-
I'm adjusted line 40, 50, 60, 70.
Yeah, you
whatever.
have them at 70.
You have it at 70. You've locked in 70.
It is locked in. We've already talked about this. I'm going to take the Iowa-Wisconsin under. It totals 38 right now. The under is hit in the last 5 of Wisconsin games. The under has hit 6 times in the last 7 of Iowa games. The other one was a push.
Good stats.
Definitely going to hit.
Good
under.
stats.
Good
Thanks.
stats, Kayce.
Fun facts of the week. Another fun fact is that PointsBet has an exclusive booster for the LSU-Alabama game. Plus 110 for total touchdowns over 7.5. Right now, that is boosted from minus 125. So, of course, we've got 2 Heisman contenders right now going against each other. So, if you want to do that, plus 110 for total touchdowns over 7.5. Let's go to the Phillips Norelco top 10s. Phillips Norelco is the most innovative electric grooming tools to help you do what feels right. This feels like it's going to get contentious.
This is where it went wrong for him last week.
Yeah, this is
With
where
the
all
Baylor.
the.
That's where it went right for me last week.
This
Well,
is-
you
No,
got under your
Oklahoma,
skin and then you
Baylor.
attacked Devlin.
They weren't linked.
This is where everything went downhill for you. So hopefully that doesn't happen again. So Dave, we'll start with you. What is your top 10 this week, week 11?
It didn't change much. Ohio 1, LSU 2, 3 Penn State, 4 Bama, 5. So that changed a little. I dropped Baylor because they looked bad in their win. Clemson 5, Baylor 6, Oregon 7, Georgia 8, Minnesota 9, Utah 10. So Florida dropped out with the 2 losses.
Any problems with that, Brandon?
No, I'll get to mine in just a second.
I
He's
wanted
on
to
the
give you
Baylor
a-
wagon. He's
Well,
on
I
the
mean,
Minnesota
I just wanted
bandwagon.
to give you a second.
Undefeated in major conferences. You have to give them credit.
Can I ask a question? Because we
I knew you
never
had a problem.
did clarify this. Is this, based on this, is this the 10 best teams in our opinion? What is this? We never clarified
It's
it.
your top
I
10.
bring the 10 best teams every week. I don't care if they're
In your
undefeated against a
opinion,
shitty
right.
schedule.
Yeah, it's everything's
but
subjective.
top 10.
you couldn't actually be like on a committee to choose because if someone has 3 losses that you think's better, you'd be like, I'm putting him in over the
Well, the
undefeated
actual
team.
committee last night put Baylor at 12. And they don't have them anywhere. They don't have them in the top 10. You're the only person I've seen that has them in the top
Which
10.
is crazy.
I mean, no one got more disrespected. Minnesota was 17.
Right.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But
You got them at number
Because they're
9.
doing eye tests more than.
But that's what he's doing, but you can't do it that way.
Why not? That's what I'm asking. Why not?
Because
Minnesota's-
what's the point of even playing the season?
Minnesota hasn't played a top 30 team. They're not.
But it will figure it out. So I don't think Minnesota's I think there's 10 teams that could beat Minnesota. But that doesn't matter until they do it.
So you're going 10 best seasons to this point, not 10
Correct.
best teams.
Resumes, yes.
So I'm going 10 best teams. You're going 10 best seasons so far.
Resumes, yes.
Okay. There's the confusion.
But
I mean,
like
it's just
how the
subjective,
Oklahoma
yeah.
Baylor thing, when there's a direct correlation, I don't know how anybody can do that. That's unfair. Like that's just unfair.
Well, they
Because
haven't
there's
played each
nothing
other
Baylor
yet.
can do. I think Baylor could beat Oklahoma, and if Baylor,
Well, they're gonna
if
get their
Oklahoma
chance.
has like
week.
6 fumble QB snap exchanges that has nothing to do with Baylor, and they recover the ball and they win, you could turn around and say, I think Oklahoma's still better eye test than Baylor.
I have a mix of your 2 systems.
Dan has a mix. Let's see what he does.
LSU, Ohio State, Clemson, Alabama, Penn State, Georgia, Oregon, Baylor, Oklahoma, Utah. My mix is, it's obviously what the season is, but
Minnesota, you don't have in there.
I don't have
That's your
Minnesota in there.
mix.
Yeah, Minnesota, because it's a mix of where you are in the season. So obviously the top 5 teams are undefeated. But then if you have quality wins, you have to be higher, and undefeated doesn't trump all.
Does
So having to
Oklahoma have a quality win?
I mean,
Texas.
Texas
isn't
kind
even
of.
ranked.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean that's a fair point.
I mean, obviously, at
Who
the
else
time,
did
it
they
doesn't
play?
matter.
Have they played?
So they've beaten
TCU?
Houston. They've beaten
I would say beating Kansas State at this point is a more impressive win than beating Texas.
Yeah, well, they're playing head-to-head.
But that's what, again, that's the Baylor. That's the.
Yeah, no, I have Baylor ahead of Oklahoma. I have
Yeah.
Baylor ahead of Oklahoma. Absolutely.
The Big 12, they'll have to all shake out, but at the same time, Oklahoma and Baylor will probably play twice this year, so we're going to get to see that.
Forget about me. What about the committee putting Baylor at 12 and Oklahoma at number 9?
Idiots. Disrespect.
Okay.
I think it has to do with who's playing at quarterback.
Name
for OU.
recognition. Switch the uniforms.
And
That never
there's a
happens.
Heisman candidate at quarterback.
Yeah, so I have Baylor at 8, and I have the only two teams with one loss ahead of them are Georgia, because they beat Notre Dame and Florida, and Oregon, because they just whooped up on USC, and they beat Washington at Washington. I think those 2 wins for each respective team is better than what Baylor has done, but that doesn't mean Baylor can't. They have the whole season ahead of them.
Baylor's got a chance. I mean,
Yeah,
if they take care of their business, none of this is going to matter.
So that's my reasoning.
Is Baylor
That's
in
my
your top
reasoning.
10?
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
No.
Go ahead.
LSU's number 1 because I think the resume trumps the eye test. Ohio State has looked like the best team this year. Alabama, Clemson, Penn State. Georgia, to me, the best one-loss team.
Florida.
Oregon and Utah sandwich Oklahoma, and then Florida is still up there. Florida's lost on the road at LSU and a neutral site to Georgia. They're a better football team than Baylor. They're a better football team than Minnesota.
That's SEC
where I'm
bias.
going. That's not SEC bias.
What's Florida's best win?
Florida is 10th in the college football playoff.
What's Florida's best win?
Florida's best?
Auburn.
Oh, the fraud team.
That is tough, Brandon.
Yikes.
That's
you
not tough.
mouse-trapped yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
because
You
you said
mouse-trapped
that
yourself.
Auburn should
You
be
went
in
like
the
this.
conversation.
Little Brandon Walker.
Even though
Mousetrapped.
I don't believe in Auburn,
Yep.
that's still a better win than Baylor's got.
You just mouse shut. You have been
Why?
speaking.
Kansas State.
You
Kansas
have been
State beat Mississippi
speaking
State.
all season
I
long.
know that Kansas State beat Mississippi
And
State.
you've
just wanna
been
remind
speaking
you again.
all
And Oklahoma.
season long about Auburn being a fraud. You can't then turn around and say Florida beat Auburn. That's their best
guy.
win.
We have an SEC guy.
You
that's
mousetrapped
fine.
yourself.
I didn't
You-
mousetrap
Yeah,
anything.
you did.
I didn't
Because
mousetrap
the
anything.
Auburn thing is your thing, and then when I say what's Florida's best win, oh, Auburn.
Am I crazy here? I mean, the college football playoff ranking has Florida at 10 as well.
Listen. I actually
The
don't
committee of
hate.
people-
I don't hate that Florida's in there because I think Auburn is good. You can't spend all season saying Auburn's a fraud
That's the
and then reverse it and be like, well, this is why the SEC. This is why people think SEC bias exists.
It wasn't built on what he just
We're
did.
heading into a situation where Devlin's going to have to leave the
Yes,
roster.
yes.
This is what
You
happened
are
last week.
SEC
You're
bias.
getting made into a mockery, a fool, and now you attack Devlin.
You
I'm not
speak
attacking
all year
anybody.
long
Don't.
about Auburn
You
being
guys
a
have been
fraud,
dying
and
all
then-
year to pull this SEC
No,
bias.
that's the most clear example of SEC bias, where all year long you've been like Auburn's a fraud.
Yeah,
Auburn's a
question.
fraud. Then when you need Auburn for your argument to keep a team in the top 10 from the SEC, boom, Auburn's now a great win.
I keep them in there more so their losses. The LSU loss on the road in Georgia. Those are 2 losses anybody's going to get. I have a question, Dan. Who's a better football team, Baylor or Florida?
I don't know right now. I have Baylor ahead of them. I have no idea. How would you definitively be able to tell
Florida's
us?
a better football team than Baylor, and that's why I've got them on the list.
Baylor could go fucking beat the 72 Dolphins, the 85 Bears, any Patriot team, and you'd be like, they stink.
I'm not going to be like they stink. They've got their opportunities coming up. I think they lose this week at TCU. So they've got their opportunities coming up.
You had App State in your top 10.
I watched them against West Virginia last week, 17-14. That's the number 10 team in the country at home
play
on
to win
Thursday
the
night.
game.
They won the
A win
game.
is a win. Winning ugly is still winning.
That's great. That's good for them. Baylor is not a top 10 team and will not be in the top 10 very much longer. I understand you guys putting them up there, respecting their undefeated record. Good for them. It's a great story. Matt Rule's a great coach. They
You're
are
not really even predicting anything. They're a 2-point favorite on the road this weekend.
you
So you
think-
can't come in next
Is
week
that
and be
what-
like, oh, told you about Baylor.
I bet on TCU's on my card as a bet.
You can't play the forward-thinking game. You got to do with what's
I've
going
been
on
playing
right
the
now.
forward-thinking game all year.
Brandon, do you think Kansas State or Auburn is a better football team?
Auburn.
So they're not a fraud?
So you just hate the Big 12.
I don't hate the
You have
Big 12.
SEC bias.
I think Auburn.
disgusting.
I think Auburn is the 5th best team in the SEC. I think Auburn is an 8-4 SEC team. I think Auburn had a very difficult schedule. I have said that all year. I just think when people put Auburn up in the top 5 or said they got the best defense in the country, that was all false. They were a fraud as far as a national title contender. They are a good team. They're not a great team, which is what people were acting like 6 weeks ago. I've been consistent. I've been right, and I continue to be so.
Well, not really.
Well, we'll see what happens next
100%
week.
correct.
All right, Big Ev. Go ahead and break this one up, please.
For over a month, I have said Ohio State is the number 1 team in the
we don't
country.
care. Go
I'm
on to
so
the next
glad
one.
that the college football
This is like
committee.
every show. It's like we fight and then
That-
the Ev's
listen,
like, big,
but I'm saying,
Ohio State, Ohio
I'm
State.
saying I've said it for over a month. I'm glad the college football committee watches this show and has taken my research and said, you know what, they are the number 1 team. LSU, Bama, Clemson, Penn State, Georgia, Oregon, Utah. Minnesota, no one got disrespected more in the college football playoff than them.
Yeah, how do you have Minnesota over Baylor? That's crazy.
They're both undefeated.
But Baylor has good wins.
But I'm saying it's like a 9-1A, 1B. It's like they're like the same.
No, there's a number next to them. One is higher than the other.
You got to make a choice. Listen, it's a Big Ten team. They haven't played anybody. They're going to get their chance to prove themselves this week. I believe in them. Baylor, their performance against West Virginia was very shaky. West Virginia is not a great team.
Killed Kansas State.
Wasn't it a 3 overtime victory?
31-12. Does that sound like a 3
Who was their 3 overtime victory against? It was against somebody.
All right, I'm pulling up Baylor right now. They're 8-0. They squeaked by West Virginia last week.
But I'm showing them respect. They're there.
I mean, Baylor beating.
They killed Oklahoma State.
Killing Oklahoma State at Oklahoma State. That is an impressive win. 45-27. Beating Kansas State at Kansas State 31-12. That's an impressive win. They beat Iowa State, who's a decent team. Texas Tech they beat. These are good wins.
Dave, I totally forgot to mention this because it goes right in the face of everything that Brandon has said. Florida, his top 10 team, they were down 19-10 in Kentucky, who is the worst team, you said just a few minutes ago.
And
that's as close as
they outscored them 19-0 in the fourth quarter.
But you're telling me Baylor close win or
didn't even cover.
There was a huge turnover in that game. That game was over and lost. Kentucky had them beat.
If Felipe Franks doesn't get hurt, Florida loses that game. I just think Florida, they got 2 losses that anybody in the country would have, so therefore I think they're number 10.
You have a 2-loss Florida team ahead of an undefeated Baylor.
That is 100% correct.
Florida is dead.
What you
a good team, they're dead.
I don't even know why they play games.
You put Florida and Baylor on the football field, Florida is pissing on Baylor.
But hold on.
Brandon,
Dead. My point is that you said...
They're not dead. You keep saying
shut up. Everyone shut up.
Dead where? Where are they going?
Shut up. You said Baylor barely beat West Virginia. Well, if you watch Florida versus Kentucky, Florida barely beat Kentucky. So you can't pick and choose when a team barely beats another one.
And he also says good wins. He has this double thing of good wins and no losses. Guess what? Baylor has both. They have no losses and good wins.
Do you think Baylor's win over Kansas State is as good
this
as
is going to suck, too, because TCU is going to win, and he's going to be like, I told you so.
I mean, that's exactly what's going to happen. So you know that's going to happen.
No,
why are you arguing with me?
Because I'm giving them their moment like you're App State.
Yeah. You think the Kansas State?
I think Auburn beating Oklahoma State at Oklahoma State by
Baylor beating Oklahoma State.
Baylor beating Oklahoma State 45-27 at Oklahoma State is 1,000 more impressive than losing at Auburn.
4-loss Oklahoma State.
Doesn't matter. Oklahoma State at night.
No, it very much matters.
Florida's 2 losses are to top 10 teams, so it does matter.
4-loss Oklahoma State. That's what you're
It's SEC bias. Iowa State's not bad. Kansas State not bad.
You're going the other way. You're just saying it's SEC bias, where I'm just telling you right now,
Oklahoma State needs to be moved out of this building.
Oklahoma State sounds like an impressive win. It sounds great.
How many losses can Florida have before Baylor's undefeated passes?
Once Baylor gets a big time win like Oklahoma, I like their Kansas State win.
Florida has what does Florida have?
Florida's got the Auburn win.
Which is a fraud team.
Can we end on that note, please?
Yeah, we can end, I mean, yes.
Can we end on that note?
Like, you guys think you're putting me in a box.
No,
you're just driving yourselves crazy over this SEC thing. Florida will piss on Baylor, and everybody here knows it.
No,
but your biggest win is against a team you've been calling a fraud all year long.
I've been calling them a fraud as a top 5 team and a national title contender. They are a good team that's going to go 8-4. That's exactly what Auburn's going to do. That's exactly what I told you they're going to do in September and October. That's what's going to happen. They're going to lose to Georgia and Alabama. I'm not embarrassed.
On a very personal level.
So he's going to shove someone.
I'm not shoving anybody.
You got a 2-loss team ahead of an undefeated team. It's inexcusable on every level.
And you want to go ahead and end the show on that?
I have a question.
Do you want to end the show on that?
The College Football Playoff Committee that is paid to do it did it last night.
The NCAA and those guys are the worst at their jobs. If that's what you want, you should go work for the NCAA. You'd be perfect.
They did it last night.
You go work for it. You'd be perfect.
They did it last night.
You'd probably fucking beat
Florida is the number 10 team in this country right now. Baylor is number 12. I did not create that out of thin air.
That starts because of where you start.
Correct. That's the whole point of the SEC bias.
The playoff committee is, they're not supposed to. The playoff committee is not doing it.
That's how it goes.
Starts that way, you know it.
I love the fact that both of you are getting so angry. I am really enjoying this.
I'm embarrassed for you.
You're embarrassed.
You mousetrapped yourself. The argument's been over the minute I said, what is Florida's best win? You said Auburn.
I may not be able to bet on TCU now because I may have to.
No, this has now become the most important game Because
The history of the show.
Brandon
The history
Walker's
of the show,
top
it's not the
10
most
next
important
week,
game.
if Baylor wins this game, is going to be must watch. Because you won't respect them again.
They went at TCU?
Yeah.
It depends on what happens.
Yes,
Brandon,
exactly.
what you should just start doing
Exactly.
is do what I do and just say you don't recognize them as a program and you're good to go.
I recognize Baylor as a program. Matt Rule's doing a hell of a
Right.
job.
Well, you should say what she says because otherwise you come across as a Mississippi
We need
idiot.
Baylor to win to see what Brandon
Not a
Walker
Mississippi
does.
idiot. I'm the only one sticking to his convictions up here. You guys just see a
I'm
number of
sticking,
0
I'm
and
sticking to my convictions. I'm not putting them in the top 10 because I don't recognize them as a program. We'll revisit this next week after Baylor and TCU
Did you do your
play.
top 10?
It's
Well, it's completely irrelevant. We've been arguing.
You
for the longest.
hijacked the show with your
Yeah, you
stupidity.
did. Thanks a lot.
That was a good line.
Thanks, Brandon.
Say,
That was a
say,
good line.
say it one more time.
Brandon Walker just hijacked the show with his stupidity.
See you guys next week.
That's a good line. That is a good line.
Watch out, Devlin.
Yeah, I'm nervous.